And good morning. It is 32 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in the studio this morning, mayoral candidate Tim Jennings with us this morning. Morning, sir. How you doing today?
Morning, Mike. How are you? Doing great.
Doing pretty good. How's life treating you right now?
Oh, it's pretty good. We're down the last couple of days. It's all good.
I imagine that one thing I've heard universal with every candidate I've talked to, they're ready for Tuesday. They're ready to get this over with, I think.
Yep.
I'm sure you're in the same boat.
Yeah, we're all in the same boat. That's true.
First off, as I've been saying with everybody, thank you for stepping up and doing this and running. Win, lose, or draw. We appreciate folks that are willing to step up and say, I want to do something for our community here. So thank you for doing that. We do appreciate that.
We might all have differences of opinions and stuff, but we all do care about our community.
Absolutely.
And that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the $1 million question: what made you decide to say, you know what, I want to be running? I mean, for folks that know, you've served in various levels. County, state, every level, in government here. What made you say, you know what, now I'm going to throw my hat in the ring here for mayor? What kind of made you say that's something I need to do?
My main goal, my main thing is to find, get a coordinated effort to try to find jobs and get jobs here to Roswell.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we need. I turned around and looked, and I remember when the base closed when I was growing up, I remember that, and I remember how depressed we were.
Yeah.
And when we didn't hit the census number of 50, we haven't hit it for 30 years. I mean, it's like, we really need to see what we can get and work on our economic development, or we're going to get left behind.
Sure.
I mean, Carlsbad and Hobbs flew by us in this oil and all the oil play. We get a lot of oil business from here, and there's a lot of landmen and people who make their living in the oil industry here, and so we don't have the oil under us. This is our problem.
Sure.
And so we've got to find something else, and to me, that is the Air Center.
Absolutely, and I think like you agree, that's kind of the linchpin here. I think for our potential here in southeast New Mexico is that Mecca, and as you know, and as many know, Roswell already kind of is that Mecca city for southeast New Mexico. People come here to recreate, work, play, the whole nine. So it's really that airport can really almost solidify that, and expand those services.
Yeah, it's a place where we can pick back up a lot of those jobs that we had when we had TMC and Millennium, and making those buses was a real big deal. And that one bus company bought out the other and closed it, and then we ended up losing that, and this is where we can go over and keep on going. And I think if we can get the Air Center thing with a number of companies here in different having different hangars here doing different things, I think it's not a one thing industry, so we can probably keep it a little better.
Sure.
And
what let me ask this: so like for when we talk about the growth and everything, what you see is going on now? Do you think they're heading in that right direction, or do you think we need to change up how we're doing things?
Well, right now we're still working on one of the last places over there where you could, where you have existing utilities, and that's where we have to change. Ascent is going to be it's going to be a fabulous thing for us to get here.
Okay.
And we all look at that, and although that wasn't necessarily in the thoughts of the that wasn't necessarily in the for Ascent in the plan for the $5 million exactly when we started, but in looking at that and talking with Alicia Keys from Secretary of Economic Development stuff, this is something that we could really move forward with, is getting on the getting that open. That would be the first one that could be in here, show how well we could do with that. And so that we still have the same needs going through here on doing the south and the east side of that base. And and we can get there. And I think with the extra money that we got in this year's session, I'm sure we can get there and put all the infrastructure in. So now we can come in and put in an engine remanufacturing plant. We can put somebody in there to go in, a company in there to work and change up the interior of those planes to where they can haul cargo. The 747 is now ceased production, as I understand it, and the 767 now is 30 years old, so it will probably become more of the mainstay for cargo planes, flying cargo, and especially with the Amazon and the eBay and everything going on now, UPS, that's all going to be they're going to be changing those planes from passenger to cargo planes, and we're still set. We just need to really get that infrastructure in and get going.
So there's by the way, quick update. Mike had to run. He's got a bit of an emergency that he had to run. So I'm taking over for the time being. So let's back up just a little bit. We're specifically talking about the infrastructure as far as like the potential for our air center, the potential for the airstrip out there. It really is. I mean, the sky's the limit. Pardon the pun. I just think that we need to put some things in place to make it happen.
That's correct.
For the most part. So and that's something that's important. So what are some other things that you specifically want to focus on with your time? You
mean other than the air center, or
like as sorry, I'm again coming into this a little late, so I'm trying.
Kind of yeah.
We're ducking and moving here. But as far as like your stances on different things around the city of Roswell, if you're elected, what are some things that you want to put in place to sort of make Roswell a better place?
I think we need to reevaluate our park situation and see where we are about getting things together with the parks. Parks are a place to get families together, get people playing together, get children from all economic levels. Hopefully they'll get together and they can play and do things. And the same, it goes forward when you not just parks, but you look. I think we need to reestablish the adult center and get the adult center going again. And it wasn't it's not necessarily a money maker, but if you can get at the adult center, they had 2 or 3 different women's groups that would go in there and they would dance, and then they would go perform at nursing homes, and they would go do shows but it's means of getting people out, getting people together, sure, and having dancing. So when you turn around and you look at our museums, people that have not experienced and seen the talent that comes out of the Roswell Museum,
absolutely,
it's incredible. And when you look at the potters, I mean, the things that those potters can do, and the statues or the plates or whatever that they make,
sure,
it all takes something, and it that kind of thing brings talent to your community, and it brings culture and kind of class, and it's a different thing, but you provide all these people in your community different opportunities to do different things, and some might like making pots, they like making statues, some paint,
sure.
And then over here somewhere else is another place that we have probably one of the best drag strips in New Mexico.
I agree.
And they're on the verge of, they brought some really high talent in here, and it's done real well. Now they only have 6 or 7 events a year, but it's something that brings a lot of people into New Mexico.
It offers a variety, and that's one thing that specifically here in southeastern New Mexico, you don't see a lot of variety in activities. You can do this thing, you can do that thing. Here in Roswell, there's a variety of different activities, different structures, different setups. We just have to make sure that we have the structure in place to make sure that those places exist and can keep their doors open.
Yeah, and I think going all along, you Hike and Spike It was an event that brought lots of people to Absolutely. Roswell and Artesia. I mean, people were staying in every hotel everywhere around.
I read a report once that Hike It Spike It brings in certain years has doubled the population of Roswell for that weekend.
Yeah,
that we've brought in that many people.
We used to do that with soccer tournaments at Cielo Grande. We would have the little ones come in, and then 2 weeks later we'd have an older group come in, and we'd fill the hotels up, for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and those were all good things. And the thing we have to kind of work on is when we get a good event going, we need to make sure that where we can, that they have a board or somebody so when people do it for 4 or 5 years and they get a little burned out, then we can have someone else come up, go up the line with them and see. And that kind of coordination needs to happen. We need to make sure that when you use fields like that and hike and spike it, you need to make sure that we're careful about if you're out in the middle of a soccer field and you have another event and you put tents up, you need to make sure that they fill all the holes,
right,
and stuff. So a little guy doesn't playing soccer doesn't run along and break his ankle stepping in a hole.
And there was a lot of work that just recently went into the landscape out there at Cielo Grande, and that's something that's needs to absolutely be kept up with.
Yeah, but we have and our existing ball fields need to be kept up with. Every little league team that we have out there, if there's a way, we need to keep the cost of belonging to a little league team down as low as we can to get more and more children playing.
Sure.
In some little leagues, it's very very difficult when you look at the difference from what the economic level of the children in East Side's little league, and then compare them to New Nop, and you compare them to Lions Hondo, and you look at that, and we need to figure that out, because then where East Side's little league was, that was probably the most affordable housing, and when the East Side had the base, and they had what's known as East Roswell or Chihuahuita was,
right.
Those people had very little income, and they had fewer 2-parent households and stuff where you had a coach, somebody who could coach the teams, and so that kind of, I think it played a little bit help with the demise of East Side.
Sure.
And because it's hard to get coaches and stuff, and so we need to look at that, see how it is, and make sure things are as balanced as we can to get where you have kids playing with kids of all economic levels. If you can do that, it really helps in the long run in the development of your community.
Sure. Bringing kids together, I think, is absolutely important. And now another thing that we touched on recently is with the whole COVID thing, with everything with COVID, we're sort of on the down slope of everything. Omicron cases are starting to kind of dwindle a bit, especially around here in southeastern New Mexico. Obviously, with issues with delays and getting products here, it's caused delays with construction projects that we have here in Roswell. It's caused issues with closures of a lot of roads. And I hear a lot of people complaining specifically about how the construction. I actually read a meme recently that said something to the effect of, you're from Roswell when the road construction lasts longer than most relationships. And I know that a lot of that has to do with supply chain issues, and a lot of that has to do with COVID issues. So what are some things that you hope to do or to put in place to kind of move some of those projects moving forward?
I think we have all the way through town. We have a lot of bridge issues in here, and where we had. It takes a long time to build a bridge here, and we've got to figure out ways to move that forward about going in and getting everything prepared, and then going in and building the bridge and getting it done as soon as possible. And it's where we stop the delays that you have. We have a problem in Roswell with the travel on north-south direction. There are just a few north-south streets that go all the way through town. And when they allowed them to change and put that little curve into by the Institute Golf Course, that slowed up traffic quite a bit. But if you look, you go over from Main Street, you almost have to go all the way to Goddard to get a street that goes all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other way, you've got to go almost to Washington to get a street that goes all the way through.
Gotcha. Sorry about that. I had to get up there.
No, that's fine.
Something came out, and it's live radio, folks. I apologize. So that was all. That came out of nowhere. I'm sorry about that. But thanks to Sean for filling in real quick.
Yeah.
I apologize. I didn't mean to have to cut out like that. But sorry about that. But I caught some of that. I missed a little bit there in the middle here. So if I'm covering new ground here or repeated ground, I apologize. But looking at the way the spending and things, I know that's something that you've been talking about in your campaign is the spending and things. In your opinion, is it the needs there? Would you agree that those needs are there, just the way they did it was wrong, or I'm kind of like if you've seen like the things that they spent on, if you were mayor, how would you have handled those instead of how they did?
I think in looking at the whole thing, number one, I think we have to have, when you have enterprise funds and you collect money to do water, to produce water or put water meters in, or cells at the sanitation yard or sewer. I mean, those facilities. You can collect money, but you need to save. You need to collect. When you collect money, you need to set some money aside. So when we were filling up a cell at the landfill, you should have had money set aside to start another one before that one got filled up.
Gotcha. A little bit of pre-planning.
And so we didn't. So then we had an $8 million bond issue that you put on the property owners rather than the people who use it, which some are the same. I understand that, but you put it on them to go back and put another cell in.
Gotcha.
And then they needed a new packer, so here was another $1 million that was moved over. Some of that, the rates should be high enough to where you can pay for your normal operating cost.
Gotcha.
In that, and part of that normal operating cost is making sure you have enough money to come back and do another one.
Gotcha.
Another cell. We're in a problem now because when you took like at the enterprise funds that all these are, we take them all out, and you take them all out and then move them over here and fix something else with them. Well,
sure.
Then where are you? I mean, where are we now? If we take that, we're probably going to need a new water treatment plant somewhere in the pretty near future, is my understanding. So if we do that, that could cost $30 or $40 million.
Gotcha.
And does that mean we're going to raise our rates again? And so that's what I'm saying is that look and plan ahead.
Sure.
So you have those things developed.
Sure. And mitigate the big hits when they do come.
And Ascent Aviation, we're glad they're here. I mean, I think it's great. And I don't object to Ascent being here. The methods in which you do things should be brought to the public and had a public hearing about it, and let's talk about it.
Gotcha.
So anybody who has any issues out there needs to be brought up.
Gotcha.
And because now we had an individual there who was leasing it at it has been a long-term client there that feels that he got a short end of a stick on the negotiation because everybody's rates went up, and he has to pay for all the repairs in his building.
Gotcha.
And we have because of when the base closed and how long they've been there, those buildings need a lot of repair. And so he was a little upset at everything that happened last night. Everybody wants Ascent to be here,
right?
But we have to make sure that we treat other people at facility in a fair manner as well.
You can't because it's the shiny new toy. You can't neglect the other people there just to make the shiny new toy happy.
I mean, there's some hangars out there that can't even open the doors, and on the private aviation side, almost all those doors won't shut, and you can't heat the buildings, and so if you have water in there, that's going to freeze, and so those are all needs that we have as well.
Gotcha.
And so you need to, whoever you have in your community needs to be treated as fairly as possible, and it needs to be as, the guy, your next door neighbor ought to get the same deal you got.
Sure.
You had.
I understand that.
And you can look and weigh at different things. That's true, but when you look and weigh at things, you do it with public discussion.
Gotcha.
So everybody knows what everybody's getting, and Ascent is, everybody's wants them. We want them real bad to
Sure,
be here, and
sure.
they'll be a good company.
But you're, like you said, you don't want to promise things that at the end of the day we can't promise everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, so if we're gonna go, if we do something for them, why we have to make sure that the guy over here whose hangar door, which is they haven't been able to open for 2 or 3 months,
Sure.
because it's broken.
Sure.
That he's still paying rent on a building. He can't even open the door.
Gotcha. Kind of looks like,
and that's really not fair.
sure. And then we turn around and give a bunch of money over here and said, sorry, we don't have the money to fix your door, but we had a bunch of money to go lure this client over here. I see what you're saying.
We just need to have, government needs to be open. People need to talk about it and see and do what we can do.
So let me ask you this, like you always hear the things, first day on the job kind of thing, for you, first month or so in office as mayor, what's going to be your priorities? What are the things you're like, we need to fix this, and this now? What would be one or two of those things that you want to change as soon as you humanly possibly could?
I think one of the first things I want to do is I want to meet with the employees.
Gotcha.
And I want to look at our staffing patterns that we have all over, and salary level staffing patterns, and see where we are.
Gotcha.
And there's been a number of people say we're so top heavy on higher administration. Let's look at that. And I know people who are driving. When you look at a trash truck.
Right.
Now most people don't realize that trash truck costs almost $400,000.
Yeah, and that's probably for the cheap ones.
Yeah, and yet, if you're driving that same truck that costs that much,
yeah,
in Artesia, you're getting $25 or $30 an hour. Here, our people been there 5 years and paying $16.
Gotcha.
And I think we need to look at all the issues out there.
Sure.
We need to look about getting the buildings back open and getting them in use.
So you think it could be even like maybe just shifting from the management dollars to the operate? You know what I'm saying? Where we got too many chiefs and not enough workers here. We need to balance that so the chiefs match the number of workers, kind of thing.
And how many people have driven around Roswell and maybe over by Yucca Center, and they had a couch out there on the ground for about probably 2 months? Well, that doesn't look very well. You look at the weeds and everything around Yucca Center.
Sure.
It doesn't make your community look very nice.
And I would also argue too that it's kind of hard for code enforcement to go out and tell you your weeds are bad when you look in our own backyard.
Backyard.
Yeah, it looks the way it looks.
The city made a deal to do the entrance into the base a few years ago when they traded on some work with out at the base. They traded, and they had agreed to do some work, is what I was told. And you look how ratty it kind of looks when you drive into the air center.
Yeah.
And those, we need to. I want to get people to have pride in their community.
Sure.
To be happy, to be glad you're here, and we got to look at that. And we had 100. We thought we'd have 50 people when they had a early buyout or early retirement in the city of Roswell during COVID. They thought they'd have 50 people retire early. They had 150, and so that's created some problems.
Sure.
Maybe we don't have enough people to drive the lift truck.
Sure.
One of those grapple trucks.
Sure.
And these are all things that we have to look at. But people have to know too that you shouldn't be able to just stick a mattress out and drop it at the first place you want, or drop it behind somebody else's house or a couch.
We all need to do our part.
Everybody has to do that, and we need to get together and work together on what we can do to get the most mileage out of all our facilities.
Absolutely. We're about out of time here, but so I want to kind of give you the floor here for whatever you want to make sure you get out there to folks that we didn't get a chance to cover here. I want to anything we didn't talk about or anything you want to hit home on. I want to kind of give you that opportunity to do that.
Okay. Well, thank you. Mike, I've been in all forms of government here. I've been a county commissioner, and I am the flood commissioner now and stuff, and I'm looking about things and ways to bring this together. And I think I can do it. I've worked in my experience in the legislature. I've worked with Republicans and Democrats. I've been on the minority side in the legislature. I've been on the majority side. I know what it's like. We all have needs, and I can bring the people together, and I can bring our community together to sit down and figure out what we need to do and how to try to get all walks of life together where we can enjoy our community together.
Absolutely.
And we didn't, when the city needed help on redoing the lake at the zoo, the flood commission stepped up and fixed it. We didn't send the city a bill for it. We did it because it was something that we can do for our community involving water, which is what our job is. And we can all sit down and figure out how to work together. We can get our schools working together. We need to work on economic development. We need to work on getting more jobs out at the college and having some kids get into vocational programs at our college.
Sure.
Now you can take accelerated programs in the college session, if we're going to college. Well, maybe we can get some of those accelerated programs to go into the heating and air conditioning or whatever fields that we have.
Skilled trades.
Welding, any skilled trade out there. And working together, I think we can do that. And we also, one of the last things we have to figure out, we have to fix healthcare in Roswell. We cannot keep existing where we fly everybody out of here every morning at 4:30, to go somewhere else to get health care.
Yeah.
We've got to address the issue. We have to get together with Eastern Medical Center and Loveless. We're going to have to get together with our doctors to get doctors here, attract them here, and have them stay here.
Yeah.
That's what we've got to do.
I live right near the Eastern there. I hear that helicopter all the time.
It's like they start at 4 or 4:30 in the morning.
It'll rattle my windows,
one right after the other.
Very good. If folks want to reach out to you, get on the campaign, what's the best way to do that?
Just call me, call my office, and 623-8331.
Awesome.
Or you can call me on my cell phone.
Perfect. Well, Tim, thank you very much. I apologize for my abrupt meeting.
It's all right.
Life happens. But
I hope you didn't miss.
We're good. We're good to go. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And we'd love to talk to you here in the future. I know anytime.